Hello guys. So today I'm going to share my experience at Omicron GmbH. So this is the company which is situated in Austria. It's a great company actually. So I have gone for the on-site interview and I'll share my experience. So they call it as a tester day for the on-site interview because you get the hang of things what you're going to do daily, but more or less it's similar, something as the system design, um, coding questions, and so on. So first is the video call interview where they ask basic general networking related questions, for example, MTU versus MSS, some threading related questions, for example, spin lock and other synchronization mechanism, and your project related questions. So this is an embedded company, so they're looking for more into the work which you have done towards the embedded side, motherboard, CPU, and so on. Then, if this goes well, they'll call you for a tester day in Austria. So at on the tester day or the on-site interview, uh, they give somewhere around four, five questions, and it's for the complete day from 10 a.m. to somewhere 4 p.m. Then finally they share the feedback, not the results, but how you did. So the first question which I got is three bulbs and three switches problem. So there are three bulbs in one room and three switches in another room, and both the rooms are having a wall, and from one room you cannot see the other room. So we have to identify which switch belongs to which bulb. So the solution to it is, you can just switch on one bulb. In one room, you switch on one switch. Then after some time, maybe somewhere around 1 hour or 2 hours, just switch off and run quickly into other room. So and before running in, just switch on one bulb. So the bulb which is light on, it will be for the on switch. The bulb which is very like completely cold, it will be for another switch, and bulb which is a bit hot, and which is off, so it will be for the third switch. So this is the first question. Then there are C++ related output related questions related to the static variable and global variables. For example, this one, this was the code that will it compile or not. What are the 3.3 mistakes? So if we are coding in an IDE, we'll not see much of the things here, but um, if you're coding like on maybe in a plain old compiler, maybe command line, it'll have some errors. For example, first is that it doesn't have um, the header file that's missing. The second is it doesn't have the return statement, and um, the that is return statement is missing, and return value. So they'll ask that where the return value is stored and why missing the return value will have the wrong effects or implications. So return value is actually stored in register that is RAX, um, and it presently will store the value which is returned by printf, which is wrong. Then the header file is not there, and then main is not having argc and argv. So this is for the these are the three mistakes which I was able to point out. Then they asked that whether it will compile in GCC or G++. So in GCC, it will compile, but with the warnings, because the libc, that is a standard C library, has already defined the printf and other functions. But in C++, it will not compile because printf is not declared in uh, the C++ runtime library. Then there was a code for the doubly linked list that, given this structure, specifically we have to implement these three functions using the double pointer approach. That is, I have to initialize to null. It means initialize head pointer to null. Then I have to do add after, and I have to remove a node, right? So I have just done this in here. So this is the code. I'll just paste it in the link maybe. Then there was one question about helping the Smith family. So there some conditions are given that there is a person named Smith who is invited to the birthday party, and he has four members A, B, C, D, which could not agree. Like all cannot go because they have some misunderstanding. So these are the conditions given. At least one family member must go. A does not go with D, B will go with C, A and C goes and B will not go, right? Something like this. So uh, what was expected out of it is that we have to generate all the combinations first. So for these, that is four members, A, B, C, D, it'll have somewhere 15 combinations, so including 0 to 15. And then you have to print the groupings, like this generate combination function will generate the combinations first, and then based on that, you have to print the groupings. So what I have done is I have generated the combinations, pushed those combinations in vector output, and then used this vector out in print combinations, and then applied these conditions here. So you can do it similarly. Then one question was for the object-oriented design that you have to design a logger class, and this relates to um, writing the UML diagrams first, then basically provide some code, and then discuss about the synchronization multi-threading approach in this. So the question is that we have to design a logger class for different targets, that is file, console, and remote server. So only one method should be exposed. This should be thread safe. Logging can be changed at runtime. For example, if from file this some program calls this function for file, then the log will direct to file. If some the thread 2 will call the same function for console, then it will just log into console. And similarly for the remote server. So these all things were needed: UML diagram, code for the logging class, and it should queue the messages and process asynchronously in another thread. This was one, and we are free to use C++ and HTML. So this was one question. So there was one another question related to the system design, that you have to upload a patch on to so there is a binary which is running remotely on some other server. It's a kernel patch basically, and then from remote you have to upload the kernel patch. How you'll do it? So you have to discuss about the init ramfs. Then you have to discuss about that if that application need to went down, then what will be the implications, and uh, what can be the different approaches out of it. So more into embedded side rather, I'll say. So these were the 4 or 5 questions which we need to cover. Um, I have also coded this one, so I'll just provide link to my GitHub repo for it. So thanks a lot, guys. Have a good day. Bye bye.